Rest in peace to Catherine O'Mara. She will be missed. News came out earlier today that she passed away at the age of 71. To me, she's best known as playing the mom in the Home Alone movies. But you know, there's also a couple other roles. She was on Schitt's Creek. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen that. She was in the second Beetlejuice movie, which I also haven't seen yet. I don't know, I kind of just keep forgetting to watch it. I saw the first one ages ago, to the point I don't even remember it anymore. So yeah, that's another thing I need to do one day. Watch both Beetlejuice movies, back to back. She also did some voice roles, which I can't believe I still haven't seen. She did voice roles in Elemental. I have yet to watch that. It's on the list. Monster House. Now that I did see. And from some of the other things that I've seen... Well, the things that I'm seeing she was in, not a whole lot that I've actually watched. Oh yeah, she was also in The Last of Us. I also haven't seen that yet. So this is it, folks. This is the final hunt. Landorus is the final hunt. Let's lock the hell in. While I do this, I also need to drink my softener here, because I swear to you, I've never had this much blood come out in succession. Usually by now, it has come and gone, but I don't know, I've just never had it. I've just never bled this much before. So fine, time to dust off the old softener. And also, yes, I do need to cut my fingernails. You know, see my finger on the A button all the time, and how long my nails are. So before we jump in, there's a couple of things I want to go over. A couple of Instagram posts I saw. I saw one of them. Now, I don't know how legit this is. I didn't really bother looking up a source. I saw one post where Amelia Clark is quoted to saying that she's currently single, and she too feels lonely going home at night to no one in bed. Shit, I'm right here. I'll volunteer. My DMs are open. But you know what? You know who I blame for this? Hollywood. It is absolutely Hollywood's fault, as well as video games. The video game industry isn't completely out of the blame as well, but mostly Hollywood. Hollywood did most of the damage. All these years of woke BS, putting off men from dating. Now look, are y'all happy now? Are all y'all activists working in Hollywood happy now? No one's interested in dating anymore. I wasn't gonna say this out loud, but I guess the time has come. Like, what did it take to get the message across to you? The population going down just because nobody's dating anymore? Is that what it's gonna take for you to finally get the message? Ahem, Disney. Ahem, Lucasfilm. And, you know, by extension as well, ahem, Warner Brothers. Now, while I was scrolling on Instagram, I saw this post. The post isn't important, but what's important is the background music. I'm not gonna lie, when I heard this, I'm like, okay, but why is it kind of catchy though? And then I went digging, I found the song. I'm not gonna link it down below because the song is hyper offensive. Just the name alone. The name is called Kim Jong-goon. The song is super offensive. So listen at your own discretion. I think the name Kim Jong-goon should tell you enough. You know, the song has lyrics that are about certain... it's not entirely about, it just has their names in it. You know, it has names like Diddy and Epstein, but then it also has, you know, certain tragedies that happened, like 9/11. Like, it's a very offensive song, but, you know, I'm not focusing on the lyrics, I'm more focusing on the tone, the tune, the beat, the rhythm. Am I sane, or is it actually kind of catchy? Why does it actually kind of go hard? Now, I know that's going to be subjective, because I sent it to some of my friends, and some of my friends were like, yeah, I don't find it that catchy, which is fine. You know, taste is subjective. But me, on the other hand, like, damn, the lyrics are a bit much. They're funny, sure, a bit much, but why is it kind of catchy? So, look it up and view with discretion. And hey, don't get mad at me, alright? Don't get mad at me for putting that on your radar. Don't get mad at me if you don't like it, alright? Just, if you don't like it, then don't listen to it. You know, don't get mad at me for putting it to your attention that it exists. By the way, I gotta cover. That song, is it AI? Probably. More than likely. I haven't found a source for where it came from, unless the channel is, you know, the source. There's no name behind it, so I'm going to assume it's AI. Unless some actual living, breathing person out there really had a good time making this song, and I would understand remaining anonymous for this. What else was there? Wasn't there another Instagram post I wanted to discuss? Am I crazy for saying there's a good chance I'll probably bump to that horrendous, offensive song in the car? Man, someone comes into my car and that starts playing, it's gonna be that scene with Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal. Or it's gonna be the scene from the Split movie with James McAvoy and Anya Taylor-Joy. Which, you already know, if I was in the Split movie, I would have killed him swiftly to get away. I absolutely would have just annihilated him. Oh, speaking of annihilate. So, earlier today, I went to a grocery store that has a bubble tea place built right in. Well, first of all, I was walking around. I just stumbled upon the snack aisle. And I noticed that there were no gold Oreos. No yellow gold vanilla Oreos. That's odd. Alright, so I went to go order my drink, my bubble tea. And then there was a sign. There was a sign. Hold on, what was it again? Let me see. It was a bunch of drinks. There was a brown sugar pearl latte, brown sugar pearl matcha latte, Brown Sugar Pearl Roasted Milk Tea. But on top of it, every one of them was with Oreo pieces. And in the promotion picture was the gold Oreos. And I'm just like, alright, that explains where all the gold Oreos went. There was even a big fat sold out sign for brown sugar Basque cheesecake with Oreo pieces. Sold out. Well, yeah, that explains where all the gold Oreos went. I could easily demolish a pack of gold Oreos. Add a cup of milk and it's wraps. Me personally, I prefer the gold Oreos. I don't hate regular Oreos, but I'll just never go out of my way to buy them. The gold Oreos, though, never put them in front of me, because I will make you see a magic trick. I will make them all disappear in an instant. I don't know, I feel like people just aren't that big of a fan of gold Oreos. And you know what? That's fine. More for me. Hold on, what is this? Wait, when did they announce this? There's gonna be a Kawasaki amiibo. And, oh, that makes more sense, the DDD amiibo for Kirby Air Riders. Take my money. Take my money. Amiibos and Kirby? Give me. I can't believe we're getting a Kawasaki amiibo. That's kind of crazy. You know, the original 4 characters make sense. Kirby, Meta Knight, DDD, and Waddle Dee, they make sense. But a Kawasaki amiibo. Give. Like, the Kirby characters, we could get so many others, too. Oh, right, I forgot they announced new Monster Hunter amiibos. I'm thinking about the Pragmata one, since I still don't see any listings for that. That DDD amiibo is huge! Let's see, I'm still on the shiny female alpha Fennekin grind. I haven't been keeping count about the regular size shiny Fennekins. I am 2 shiny alphas deep. So only 6 more to go until I reach odds to get a female shiny alpha. I did get a shiny alpha Delphox, but it was male. And then, my second shiny Delphox was not alpha, but female. Damn. Well, the grind continues. Like I said, it's good to keep me busy. Keep me busy until Pokemon Home updates. So anyways, today, we once again only have 2 things to go over, being Oshinoko and Monarch Legacy of Monsters. No Wonder Man episode just yet. In fact, episode 3 of Oshinoko, season 3, came out yesterday. So that being the case, let's talk about episode 2. You know, there are a couple of things that I missed that I forgot to mention with the first episode. The fact that there was a Pikachu name drop in the episode, that was kind of random. You know, they name drop certain actual real life things all the time. They name drop YouTube, Twitter, Netflix. But to hear Pikachu straight up be said out loud, that's kind of crazy. They weren't referring to the Pokemon. It was when Ruby was doing was hosting the game show that Aqua was on. And she's just like, let's find Pikachu-kun, or whatever she said. And it's just a guy, Redditor-looking guy, who calls himself Pikachu-kun, whatever it was. So it wasn't, they didn't show Pikachu on screen, but to hear the name said out loud is still kind of crazy. And another thing I forgot to mention, when Aqua was talking to Memcho, he just nonchalantly mentions that he's planning to go to med school. And Mem is just like, huh? You're working as an actor and you're gonna become a doctor? Which, you know what? Good for Aqua. I mean, it makes sense. He was a doctor previously. He should still have the medical knowledge in his mind, or at least in his memory. But he's not qualified. It's kind of like, ask yourself this. If you were reborn and given a second chance in life, would you do the same thing? Or better yet, I should ask, would I do the same thing? Well, I know I wouldn't want to. If I had a second chance, I very much would not want to do what I'm currently doing now. But, you know, it's good to have as like a fallback, you know? You already have the knowledge in your mind. All you have to do is just go through the process to be qualified, and you have that to fall back on. Now, obviously it's easier said than done. You go back to school to retake what you already studied for. We all know that upon actual practice, it's not everything that we learn in school. Now, I can't speak on behalf of being a doctor. But me personally, all the things that I had to study in school to graduate, I used damn near none of them in the field. And, you know, why do you think it took me so long to graduate? I didn't use none of that. I don't use none of that. So, I actually had to study for it. So it's like if I went back to school now and retook what I already did, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know the study material. And you can only imagine it's worse being a doctor. So, if Aqua's gonna go to medical school again, he already has background knowledge and experience, sure. But the knowledge thing, it's like, well, that's practical knowledge. That's knowledge in an actual hospital, not necessarily in the books. So he may struggle with that again. And also experience, yes, but there's no records of it. You know, he can't exactly just put on a resume. I worked at a hospital for, I don't know, 12 years. It's like, how? You aren't even graduated yet. Yeah. How do you have 12 years of experience? I just do. So, Aqua plans to attend medical school again. Good for him. But, well, good luck. Damn, imagine doing the same process twice. To him, if he does go through it, he would have to spend 16 years in med school, not 8. Because he's already done it. Damn, 8 years of medical school. Anyway, so let's just dive right in. So at the end of the last episode, I mentioned how there was a new character that Ruby was meeting up. Yeah, my bad, because we've already met this character. The character is Ichigo Saito. I had to look up his name for that. We already met him. He was Ai's manager all the way back in the first episode. At the very beginning of the franchise. My bad. He looks different. And also, he's been missing from the show for quite a while. So forgive me for not recognizing him, for forgetting his name. But yeah, Ruby's meeting up with him. Come to find out that she's trying to get information out of him on who her father is. Because she too wants to find her mother's killer, and she too believes it's her father. Now, we didn't see Ruby piece together that it was probably their father. You know, we saw Aqua, way back in the end of the first episode, realize it has to be our father. We didn't get to see Ruby realize it's probably their father. But it's kind of interesting that she also came to the same conclusion. She too wants information on who her father is, but Ichigo, he has no idea. Otherwise, if he knew, he would have killed him himself. You know what's another thing to keep in mind? You have to keep these things in mind too as you're watching the show. Ruby may have attained vengeance now, but she doesn't know that Aqua has kind of renounced all of that. She doesn't know that Aqua is in the belief that their father is dead, so there is no vengeance to chase after anymore. So Ruby doesn't know that Aqua has dropped any need for revenge. Like, there's just so many layers to this show. It's kind of like my fat folds. There's just layers upon layers upon layers. So, it was actually Ichigo who suggested to Ruby to become a host on Aqua's game show. On Aqua's talk show, game show, whatever it is. You know, Ruby wants to go after the people who may have had a hand in her mother's death. But that was 16 years ago. Anyone still in the industry from back then, well, they were not... They were small-timers back then, but now they're bigwigs. Now they are some big characters. Or some big players in the industry, so it would be tough to get close to them, especially with Ruby's current status, where, as an idol, she's popular, sure, but she's still not one of the higher-ups for the idols. So she needs to get higher up. She needs to get bigger, get more popular. And how does Ichigo suggest she does that? Well, not only has she taken up his suggestion in becoming a host on Aqua's show, but she also needs to play the character. If she puts up a certain facade, that'll get the attention of some higher-ups, or rather land her some more opportunities to get her higher up in the chain. So she needs to play the clown, the stupid, naive character. So in front of the camera, she has this almost interview, kind of, where she's just like, oh, I almost burned down the house. Well, that's because, I don't know how true this is. She probably made up the whole story. She just goes, my friend got really into making soap, so I tried to do it myself. So I boiled some liquid hand soap, and it nearly burned down the house. Oh, why did I do that? See, my logic, my train of thinking was, hand soap is just soap mixed with water. So if I boiled out the water, I would just have soap. But little do they know, she's only playing a character. It's also good for her to do this so that way she can have Aqua to bounce the information off of. Because on the show, Aqua's also playing a facade, a character. He's putting up a serious face. I mean, then again, we know how he is. But to have his very bright, positive, jumpy sister as a striking contrast, that'll really get the attention on her. Another one of Ichigo's suggestions is make friends, be kind to some of the assistant directors. And that's where we meet a brand new character, Yoshizumi. So Yoshizumi is, not gonna lie, kind of the runt of the litter for the production. But, sucks to suck to be an assistant director's position. Because we see later on him explain what his roles as an assistant director kind of is, you know? Not necessarily the stuff that the director does. Certain stuff like, you know, book castings, scout out filming locations, make coffee, grab paperwork, and if needed, clean the bathrooms. You know, among other stuff. You know, research, bookings, reaching out to collabs. So this guy Yoshizumi is under a lot of stress, especially because his actual director, the director that he's working for, yeah, he's kind of rough with him. So poor guy. But because Ruby has the advice to become close to the assistant director, only because they're assistant directors now, but one day they'll become big directors themselves, probably. So if you become friends with them now, if you're nice to them now, they'll remember you for the future. So Ruby is playing the long game. She's putting up her act as well with this poor Yoshizumi guy. And you kind of can't blame this guy for getting the wrong idea, because Ruby is kind of just all up in his business all the time, constantly showing up before him, trying to be like, any help needed? Hey, you look tired. Late night? Hey, what's going on? Anything I can help with? So you kind of can't blame this guy for getting the assumption, is she into me? Am I her type, perhaps? So I kind of can't blame this guy for thinking that, which, given what we learned in the first episode, or what we heard, how Memcho was saying Aqua's leading on Kana. Bit of a dick move from him. I can't help but feel like, you know, despite she doesn't know she's doing it, Ruby is kind of leading him on as well. Poor guy. First his job, now Ruby. Poor guy. Oh, you know one thing I forgot to mention? This episode's opening sequence. It's different from the first episode. Which, maybe every episode's gonna have a different opening. If that's the case, then cool. This episode's opening has two tones. The first one is focusing on our four main girls in the show. And then the second half is a very dark and bloody tone. Where, you know, we focus on Ai's killer, or the loss of Ai in all of their lives. And I swear, haven't I heard this song before? I don't know what the song's called, but I swear I've heard it before. So, speaking of Akane, we also catch up with her a little bit. She's just about to leave work. It's raining outside. And Aqua shows up. Aqua shows up with an umbrella. He has two, but Akane's gonna do something a lot of guys wish for and just huddle close under one umbrella. And then we hear Akane's inner monologue. She knows that Aqua, in truth, is actually really into Kana. Akane was only meant to be a fake girlfriend for the dating show. But she knows for a fact that the only reason Aqua chose her instead of Kana is for his own reason. And you have to keep in mind too, Akane has figured out the truth. Nobody else knows the truth. Nobody else knows that Akane knows the truth. Akane knows the truth that Aqua's mother is Ai. Or at least she heavily suspects. But still, she knows the truth. And she knows what Aqua has been through. So she completely understands why he chose her over Kana. She knows that he cannot allow that to happen again. She knows how much it hurts Aqua to do that. But she doesn't care? Oh, you poor girl. You're setting yourself up for heartbreak. You poor, poor girl. Nah, me personally, I don't think I can do that. I don't know if I can be in a relationship knowing damn well she's into someone else, and the only reason she's not with him is for her own, like, care for him. He's better off without me, so I'm not gonna be with him. I'm gonna be with you instead. It's like, I don't know if I can be in that position. And for Akane to know and not care, she's just putting herself up for disappointment. I'm sorry. You poor girl. You don't deserve this. But damn, it's kind of crazy to hear out loud who Aqua truly chooses in his heart. He chooses Kana, but settles for Akane just to protect Kana. And also the fact that Akane knows that Aqua has been ghosting Kana, has straight up cut contact with her. Which kind of pisses Akane off, not because of the reasons you think, but because that shows that Kana is constantly on Aqua's mind. Which pisses her off. So Aqua walks Akane back to her place, and as he turns around and walks away, well, not only does Akane's mother open the door and see her, her handsome boyfriend walking around after just escorting her back home on a rainy night, Akane also thinks to herself, don't you dare cheat on me with anyone, because if you do, you're a dead man. And even Aqua felt that. He actually shudders, he hesitates, he stops walking. I'm thinking, like, did she say that out loud? No, she thought that in her mind, and yet he felt that. I don't know, that was just a funny moment. Anyway, so back to the main story. Oh yeah, also, Also, speaking of Aqua, during the game show, he knows very well that Ruby, she's getting advice from someone. Someone is telling her to do these things. Otherwise, Ruby would never do this stuff normally. So Aqua's suspicious. He knows something's going on with Ruby. I wonder in the story if we ever will get the truth laid out. Every character learns the truth about everything. About their identities, about who they are, about the fact that Akane knows, about Aqua's feelings. I wonder if we'll ever get all truths laid out. Anyway, so moving on. So we get the scene where Ruby's actually asking Aqua about stuff relating to the show. How there are several layers to these kind of reality game shows. You know, I'm not as well in the know for game shows and how they work. So for there to be like several different groups that do the same thing, that's a surprise to me. But I guess it makes sense. It's a reality game show. So if one party is unable to, then maybe the other one will, or someone screws up, you know the rest. So, Yoshizumi, his boss is just like, well, we have this, I don't know what event it is, some sort of cosplay event going on. Some sort of cosplay event upcoming, and they need cosplayers, and they need a subject to cosplay from, like a property. And they're just like, hey, what about Tokyo Blade? That's picked up in popularity lately. Gee, I wonder why. So, they want to cosplay Tokyo Blade, so they need cosplayers. Now, for an official event to cosplay characters of a certain IP, they need the rights. They need permission, right? So while the main director guy takes care of that, Yoshizumi is responsible for contacting, reaching out, and booking, well, what's the word I'm looking for? Auditions, that's the word. Booking auditions with actual cosplayers. A lot of them reached out and said no. Because the main director guy, he's just like, nah, just some ordinary cosplayers won't work. Find cosplayers who show a little bit of skin, who is very much, you know, revealing. And I'm just thinking, they're professional cosplayers, sure, they look really great for the photos, but, I don't know if they want to be on TV, buddy. I don't know if they really necessarily want that. Some of them do, I'm sure, but I don't think most of them would. Then again, what the hell do I know? I don't know anything about cosplaying. So Yoshizumi tries to reach out on Twitter and other places, but a lot of them come back and say no. Gee, if only this world had a Kitagawa Marin. She'd be over the moon. So, Ruby poking her nose in his business once again to try to get close to her, close to him, my bad, get into his good favor. She's just like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, you need cosplayers? Anything I can do to help? So he just straight up asks Ruby, do you by chance cosplay? We see Ruby ask her friend Minami if she's down to cosplay, but she's not very into it. But after some persuasive arguing by Ruby, the fact that, hey, this is a good opportunity for TV, right? It would be stupid to miss this opportunity. She's just like, alright, fine. We also learned that Yoshizumi, he has a little sister who cosplays at home and also is a VTuber. You know, I've had friends of mine suggest that I become a VTuber. Yeah, probably not. I don't know how to do it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I have no clue how to do it. So anyways, he kind of blackmails his sister by saying, I know your Twitter account is still active. Look at all these cosplays you put on. Of course I know about this. I'm your big brother. It's like, it's kind of weird. You can be aware of it, sure. But I'm going to assume you're not constantly on your sister's cosplaying Twitter page. Because that's just disgusting. So, he's just like, if you do this for me, because I really need your help right now, ain't no cosplayer signing up. If you do this for me, I will pretend like I don't know that your Twitter page exists. So, he now has 3 cosplayers ready to go for the auditions. He's driving Ruby back to her place after, they've finished working together for the day. And so he reveals to Ruby that they're ready to cosplay Tokyo Blade characters, and she's just like, oh, my brother said that it's really hard to get the rights to that. Just because of its creator, Abiko, she's really stingy with letting her IP in the hands of other people. And remember, we did see that in Season 2. She is really protective of her IP. So Yoshizumi, he has that kind of sinking feeling that we all have when we realize we didn't do the assignment and it's due tomorrow. So as he... Excuse me. As he lays out the profiles and audition papers for his boss, the main director guy, he's just like, I like all 3. Great! Yoshizumi just says, let me double check one more time. You have the rights to it, right? Yeah? You have the okay, you have the perm to use Tokyo Blade characters? He's just like, oh, let me check. I actually don't know. Let me call and check. Yeah, they don't have the rights. And the audition is tomorrow. And he's just like, Yoshizumi, tell the cosplayers to dress up as a different character tomorrow. Tell them, dress up kind of like Tokyo Ghoul characters, but not really, a little bit different. Great! Bye now! It's like, come on, man. You should at least know that that's not how it works. I mean, completely unrelated. We saw in My Dress Up Darling just how long it takes to build a cosplay. And you don't even need to watch the damn show to know that yourself. You could just kind of use some common sense and realize a cosplay costume is not only expensive, but time-consuming. So to give someone less than 1 night to prepare a brand new costume, no. That is just, no. That's not gonna happen. But luckily for Yoshizumi, his sister actually has some spare costumes. So the day is saved. Let me see, was there anything else that happened in the episode? But yeah, Ruby, she's becoming very calculating, moving her way up the food chain. And I'm actually pretty glad that the story for Season 3's focus around Ruby, because she kind of got shafted in Season 2. Season 2, Ruby barely showed up. It was mostly focused on Aqua. So for Season 3 to focus this much on Ruby so far, I like it. I'm down for it. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Oh, you know what? That kind of reminded me on the other Instagram post I saw I wanted to go over. I saw this guy who, even in the comments, was saying he kind of looked like a white Kanye. I saw this guy say on Instagram, jokingly, but also, I guess, kind of seriously, he's just like, I have a solution for movie theaters. It's all about the pricing. Adults, $10. $10 tickets. Kids, maybe 4 to 12 years old, $16. Toddlers and babies, $500,000. Get them the fuck out of here. What are we doing? Get a babysitter. Like, the fact that he had a straight face the whole time, and he actually looked dead-ass serious. He's just like, kids, $500,000. I don't know, it's just so funny the fact that he had a straight face the whole time. Like, he was dead-ass serious about it, too. And, yeah, that actually is true. Why would you bring your literal toddler to the movie theater? That just doesn't make sense. The only thing that makes sense about that is you watching your kid. But, you know, it's loud. There's a lot of flashing lights. Babies don't react kindly to that. And then when the baby starts crying, you miss out on the movie. Everyone else watching gets distracted, and their experience is being hindered. So it's like, yeah, find a babysitter. Actually, kind of doesn't make sense to bring your babies to the theater. I wonder, is there anything else I'm missing from this episode? Really trying to think, is there anything else I'm forgetting? The ending sequence shows Aqua and Ruby dancing together. Now, don't get any twisted idea, folks, even though it's true, because that's the end game. Like, the ending credits, they really reinforce to you that you gotta remember who these characters are in their soul. The doctor and the cancer patient. You gotta remember they were two separate people who were reborn into siblings. And it's kind of interesting too. In the end credits, we see both Aqua and Ruby's eyes side by side. Not only do we see that Ruby's eyes, the stars in them are black, we also see black stars in Aqua's eyes. Now that's kind of interesting because in the show right now, Aqua not only has no black star in his eyes, he just has no stars to begin with. He lost the star in his eye after realizing that he's free from his burden of vengeance. But now that Ruby has taken on vengeance, her stars have blackened. I'm really trying to think. Given the direction that Season 3 is heading in right now, I don't see how... First of all, I don't see how, just yet, Aqua will relearn the fact that his father's alive and gain his star back, gain the need for vengeance back. I also just don't see how Ruby is... Wait, no, not Ruby. How Akane is going to tell him about the loophole. How we're going to find that out. I kind of don't see how that'll fit into the season, given the trajectory we're heading in. But what do I know? We'll just have to wait and see. Oh, you want to know what else happened today? Earlier today in Pokemon Go, the daily incense, I got a Galarian Zapdos encounter that was 48 CP. I got a 48 CP Galarian Zapdos today. I had 3 attempts with it. It stayed 2 times. I had 3 attempts to throw a Pokeball at it, and it still fled. Golden Raspberry, 48 CP, excellent throw, it still fled. Shit's rigged. Man, I see someone on Discord message, Shiny Keldeo locked behind Platinum Unova meta. What the fuck? I paid for dog shite. Another person replied, I didn't buy that and I still feel bad for everyone who did. Such a BS requirement. And I just replied, my Unova Dex is pretty much done, so I'm Gucci. Oh yeah, let me take a look at this too. Okay, I'm just double checking. Did the next Garden of Banban game come out? I think it did. Garden of Banban. Their release is so messy. When the franchise first started, it used to be... Oh, look at that. Garden of Banban's on Switch. That's hilarious. When Garden of Banban first came out, it was just rapid-fire games after games. And now, the games are taking so long. To the point I am pretty lost when it comes to the story. You know, the fact that Garden of Banban and Poppy Playtime, those games came out so close together, aesthetically are so similar, I always get the two confused. I can't even find a good list online of the Garden of Banban games with their release dates. Okay, let's see. Oh my god. So the AI tool at the front of Google, Garden of Banban, January 2023. Shit, 3 years ago. Garden of Banban 2, March 2023. 3, May 2023. 4, August 2023. 5, December 2023. So 5, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, wait, that's 6. Right, there was some stupid reason why they skipped 5 and jumped straight to 6. I don't freaking know. Anyway, so... in the year 2023, we got Garden of Banban 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. So in 1 year, we got 5 games. And then I see here, May of 2024, Garden of Banban 7. Wait, is that right? Garden of Banban after 7, which is the 6th game. Garden of Banban 0. Yeah, I saw Markiplier just played that. I haven't watched it yet. I wonder if Jacksepticeye played it yet. Wait, when did 0 come out? Wait a second, what? It came out a year ago. Wait, which one was Garden of Banban 0? See, I am so lost with the plot. Did I even watch... Did I even... No. Did I even... Yeah, did I even watch it for 0? Garden of Banban 0 literally came out a year ago. What was I doing a year ago? And then Garden of Banban 8 released August last year. What the hell? I am so confused. How many Garden of Banban games did I miss? Because I don't think I've seen Garden of Banban 0 or 8. Which is the most recent 2 games. I'm so sorry. Like, I am so lost with Garden of Banban. It started when they... when they skipped 5 and jumped straight to 6. And then 7, 0, 8. What the fuck? Yeah, Garden of Banban is another franchise I need to catch up on again. While we're on the topic, I already looked into Garden of Banban. Let me look. When is the next Poppy playtime? Because I'm thinking let's see. We got the one after the prototype, didn't we, with Catnip? The release schedules are so messy, and that's why... I'm trying to remember. Chapter 1 of Poppy Playtime, that was the introduction where we get chased down by Huggy Wuggy. Chapter 2, wasn't that Mommy Longlegs? Chapter 3, was that the, what were they called again? The animals that spray out the red mist. Okay, chapter 3 was the one with catnip, I think. What was chapter 4 again? Chapter 4... Oh, yes, that was with Doughy, wasn't it? Doughy and... I forget this thing's name. Okay, so... And I just saw chapter 5 isn't releasing until next month. Do we have a trailer for it yet, actually? Isn't chapter 5 going to be the last one? Oh yeah, Mob Entertainment posted a trailer for it 2 weeks ago. I haven't seen it. The prototype Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 cinematic trailer. And then 1 month ago, Welcome Home Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 cinematic trailer. I'm gonna watch both right now. I haven't seen these yet. Alright, Chapter 5, Broken Things. It seems like we're finally going to meet the prototype. Took them long enough. When did Chapter 4 come out? Chapter 4... Oh. Chapter 4 came out a year ago. To the day! 1 year ago today. January 30th, 2025. 1 year ago today, Chapter 4 came out. Oh. Wow. 1 year ago it came out. You know, these two games, or other two franchises, two brands, two IPs, Garden on a Banban and Poppy Playtime, I want to see how these games finish. I want to see how these games conclude. I want to get a conclusion to the story, but their release window is horrible. They just rapid fire released at the beginning, and then we had to wait so long for each new release that it's just like, what happened again? Hold on, let me go to the Mob Entertainment channel, because it looks like they post a lot. Well, they did post a lot for the past month. Wow, a lot is stretching it. Wait, there's a Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 teaser trailer. I should have watched that first. Hold on, let me watch these, and then I will discuss I'll discuss Monarch. that 5 was kind of dope, though. Okay, let's see what this is. Still gotta wait a month for this thing to come out. Wait, there's a new welcome to the game? Yeah, there's Welcome to the Game 3. When did this come out? Oh, it's not back yet. Welcome to the Game 3 is scheduled to release in February or April. Oh, I didn't know there was going to be a third game. I thought the second game would be it. The second game came out in 2018. 8 years ago. Yeah, 8 years. No wonder I thought it would be it. Damn, I liked the games too. Wow, a third game. Sweet. Alright, enough sidetracking. Let's actually talk about the show before I run out of time. Okay, so let's get started. Episode 2 of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. This episode, we start with a flash even more back. I think the flashback scenes in the first episode was like 1959, if I'm not mistaken. So this episode, we flash back even further to the year 1952. And it's basically to show where our characters in the flashback started. Hold on, let me look up the actor's name. Alright, so flashing back 7 years earlier, we see a younger Lee Shaw in front of his superior, and it's played by Christopher Heyerdahl. I only know him from one other thing, and that's the first season of Peacemaker. So he is being assigned to go to Japan and pretty much escort and protect a scientist there. So when Lee does show up, he meets Keiko, which, by the way, I was wrong when I said last time. Keiko was the name of Kentaro's mother. Clearly not. Kentaro's mother's name is Emiko, not Keiko. But we see in the first episode they just refer to her as Kei. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that when Lee first showed up to Japan, he was completely expecting to meet a man. So he was surprised to see that the doctor he was meeting there was a woman. Look, it's 1952, alright? It was a different time period. So Lee and Keiko, they start driving off to like the middle of the woods, the middle of a jungle, to research something. Jumping back to present day, we see that Kate, she's ready to leave Japan. She's on her way to the airport. On her way there, she gets followed by a white woman. We actually don't get her name, not yet at least. So, as Kate is in the, I don't know, the terminal, wherever she was at, maybe at like a bus stop, she was somewhere, and then this white guy approaches her and tries to talk with her. He reveals himself, his name is Tim, and he's here for the files. Not the Epstein files, he's here for the Monarch files. So Kate, you know, she says, okay, I need to make a phone call. So Tim escorts her outside so Kate can make her phone call. Tim, smart enough, is just like, speakerphone, please. So Kate calls back her mom, which she could have called anyone, but she called her mom. And that was a distraction, so she can throw her phone in Tim's face so she can run away. So Kate runs away, and then the white woman stops her and just shoves her into the car, which immediately I have to question, you know, how did you know Kate was going to run the direction you had the car parked? She could have ran the other way. Right? So Kate is in the car. Tim follows and it's just like, I told you not to run. I'm not going to hurt you. The least you could have done was pick up her phone for her. Like, come on, man. You know how expensive a phone is? Anyway, so they put a bag over her head so she's not able to see where they're about to take her. which, you know, no red flags there, just relax. You know, nothing to worry about. So, Kate starts freaking out because she has literal trauma from Monarch not helping. Like, she's terrified of these people. So she kind of goes crazy, starts hyperventilating because, well, understandably, she has a bag over her head and the people that she is traumatized by is taking her to somewhere she doesn't know. So she starts going crazy. Tim and the other woman, they try to get her to relax, but then she kicks the front seat and then that sends the car going crazy and then they somehow manage to flip the car. Really? That's all it takes to flip a car? Just being kicked from the back seat? Anyway, so after the car flips, Kate, she gets out and she runs away. You know, it's not important to take whatever you can, just run away. So later on, we see that Kate went to a Japanese police station. She's trying to report that 2 Americans tried to abduct them. The police officer there asks, do you have any identification on you? But she's just like, no, my phone, my bag, I lost it trying to get away. My passport, my money, I don't have anything on me. And, are you serious, cop? Even the officer's just like, are you sure this isn't a misunderstanding? Tourists come to Japan all the time for fun. You're sure it's not just a misunderstanding? And obviously Kate's pissed because she's just like, are you serious? I almost got kidnapped. And then the Japanese cop is just like, it's probably best you take this up with the American embassy? It's just like, hold on, I'll get you the number. What? Is that how incompetent police are now? But whatever. So, Kate runs away. But before we follow up with Kate, we also see opening the episode, we see Kentaro wake up for work? We don't know, because we see Kentaro wake up, we see him walking down the street with a suit on, a fully 3-piece suit and tie on. We don't see him go to or come back to work, so you can only assume he went to and is coming back from work off screen. But where we actually see Kentaro go to was his father's office. And Kentaro trashes his father's office in a fit of rage, knowing that his father was a cheating dirtbag. He's super pissed. So he, in a fit of rage, he trashes the office. He tries to open the filing cabinet, but it's locked. But hey, lucky for him, he just happened to have a little bundle of keys that his sister dropped off. So he tries the keys and, yeah, one of them works. How lucky. How convenient. You know, keys can fit into the spot, right? They can fit into the spot. It doesn't necessarily mean it'll turn and open. But whatever, he opens the filing cabinet and hey, there's a file in there straight up with the Monarch logo on it. Damn, is there anything that is subtle in this world? It just has to be branded with the logo. Anyway, so he digs through the files and finds a picture of a young Lee Shaw. He also finds a film reel in there and he wants to know what's on it, so he goes to May, but before working on it, well, May first of all says she can't do it. She does audio, not film. Kentaro asks for the information back, but she's just like, no, I'm busy, come back tomorrow. And May continues to snoop around the Monarch files. Returning to the flashback, we see Lee and Keiko. They're in the middle of the jungle trying to pick up some sort of signal on something to... whatever they were trying to find. And inside of the jungle, they meet William Rhonda, or Billy. So we see the first time these 3 characters met. Lee, at first, isn't a huge fan of Bill. He's just a random guy in the jungle. they realize that they're probably looking for the same thing. Keiko and Bill probably looking for the same thing, so it's probably a good idea that they have him tag along, but Lee's not a fan of it because he's just a total stranger. So Keiko is just like, you're here to protect me, right? Well, I don't need your protection. You are relieved of your duties. You may go now, and Lee actually does leave. Wow. What about Thundurus? I did get Shiny Thundurus. I got it the first day of hunting, because I got lucky. So now that Lee has left, Keiko and Bill, they continue to search for what it is they're searching for. They compare notes and realize their notes are the same thing. Thus, they're looking for the same thing. So they go in deeper. And then in the middle of the jungle, not only is there a big empty patch, there's also a giant ship there for some reason. It's not really explained why the ship is there. Anyways, how long did the green genie take? 15 streams. So I guess we lucked out. Everything balanced out. Tornadus took a long time, Thundurus right away. But yeah, there's a ship there in the middle of nowhere. Bill knows about this ship. He says that it's sunk around Pearl. And Kimiko just is right to point out Pearl Harbor? That's like 5,000 meters from here. Or kilometers, whatever she said. That's like 5,000 meters from here. No, 5,000 meters would be 5 kilometers. Whatever, that's very far away. Pearl Harbor is very far away. So what is it doing here? We actually don't get an answer to that. We don't know why the ship that sank from Pearl Harbor is here. So not Kimiko, Keiko and Bill, they go in and they investigate the very dark, dirty, abandoned ship that sank very far away from here. It kind of looked like, you know what it looked like? It kind of looked like the ship that was pruned to the void in Loki. Who's next for Legends Arceus? Well, there recently was added a 4th genie, you know? But aside from that, this is the last one. So, back to present day, or 2015, which was 11 years ago. So, back to present day, we see that the people working for Monarch are all over our characters' asses to try to get the information back. So, so we see Kate very hesitantly, very carefully making her way back to where May lives. But before she's able to enter May's very small apartment, it kind of looked like just a one-room apartment. Then again, we didn't really see too much of it. Before she's able to go into May's place, May just pulls her aside and tells her, be quiet. Because Monarch is already there. They're already tearing apart her hard drives. We see Kentaro, he went home, and his mother is going through the family album. Emiko, knowing that her son is mad, and she's mad too, what she does to cheer both of them up is she starts ripping up the family portraits, especially the ones with his dad in it. And it's just like, damn. You know, you're not going to get those pictures back, right? Even if you now know in hindsight, your dad, your husband had a side piece the whole time, especially in these pictures. Like, at least you could have given yourself the facade, like in the pictures, happier times, right? You're not going to get those family albums back. But whatever. So, Kentaro, after ripping up the pictures, notices one picture among them. It's another image of a young Lee Shaw. How convenient. How coincidental. But oh no, some people are at the door. It's Monarch. And they very rudely barge right in. I swear to God, you barge into my house, I kill you. Especially the fact that, you know, Kentaro was right to be like, who are you? Oh, we're part of an agency. May we come in? No. What is this about? Don't worry, it's just gonna take a sec. Move aside. And just lets himself in. I swear to God. You do that to me, I don't care what agency you're a part of, I kill you. And damn, I guess they found 2 actors who are able to speak Japanese. Because Tim and the other white lady, they were able to... Or at least the other white lady, she was able to speak fluent Japanese. While Tim, he understands to a degree. And is able to speak relatively fine. So they try to convince this poor old lady, like, ma'am, your son stole something from us. And we need it back. Of course we will leave you and your son alone once we have our stuff back. So his mother just, you know, tries to stall for time and try to signal to her son, don't. You know what to do. Do the right thing and give these people what belongs to them, while secretly handing him a picture of a young Lee Shaw. So, stalling for time, Kentaro goes to his room and tries to get the files. Tim realizes who this place belongs to. He sees a picture of Hiroshi and realizes, oh shit. So Kentaro is able to jump out the window, I guess. Well, actually, no, I guess there was another way to the front door. Or maybe there was a back door, because he was able to exit and just walk down the stairs. So the white lady chases after him, and then she just goes down to the street and realizes he's gone. You know, isn't it kind of a interesting strategy to where you just hide in plain sight? You just hide in a dark alleyway until they leave. Because they're under the assumption that you ran away to the point you're out of sight. But you could just be standing right there. So anyways, they're all compromised now. May texts Kentaro a noodle emoji, thus telling him to go back to the restaurant that we saw them at the first episode. And I guess May is a regular here to the point she just lets the staff member know, I'm going to the back. Okay. And in the back, she has a locker with a duffel bag filled with cash and fake passports. So the 3 of them meet up. Once again, Kentaro being a bit of a dick, he's just like, why is she here? And May just has to remind him, this is your sister, and she's a part of this now too. You dick. So now they need a course of action. Kentaro, he's just like, I know exactly where to go. Trust me. Okay, going back in time for a second. So we see Keiko and Bill, they go into the ship. We see that Bill found a little chest with his name on it, his last name, Rhonda. It turns out Bill was on this ship. He was one of the sailors on it. And then according to him, it feels like the ship struck something, and in like 3 minutes, the whole ship sank. He was the only survivor. You know, the rest of the ship is waterlogged and rusted. That chest with his possessions in it must have been airtight, because everything inside looked fine. So after some more exploring from the ship, they realize, oh my god, there's people in here who are dead and, I don't know, preserved in some sort of casing, some sort of gooey casing. Like, a lot of people died here horrifically. So the 2 of them agree, alright, that's enough, let's get out of here. But then on their way out, they realize, was that slime there before? Oh no, that's fresh. That means there's something else in here with us. Let's find another way out. Looking like something out of the Ghostbusters. So, we see Lee driving back, but then he sees these weird, almost like northern lights in the sky, but in the shape of a ring. It kind of looked like the ring above Death Mountain in Ocarina of Time. So he realizes something's wrong, so he turns back. And good thing he does. Because Keiko and Bill, while they're trying to escape, they're being attacked and pursued by some sort of beast. Some sort of creature. It's on the attack. Bill gets pinned underneath some heavy rebarb or whatever. And Lee shows up just in time to help. He's able to help free Bill from the heavy thing pinning him down. And then as they escape, they realize what's chasing after them. A literal dragon emerges from the ship. They're able to get clear of it to the point the dragon can't see them, and then the dragon flies away. It's just like, holy shit, there's a real dragon there. Seeing is believing, right? First of all, I want to mention that the dragon, the CGI looked a little bit spotty, you know? It was daytime, so the CGI looked a little bit spotty, but you know what? Good enough. For a high-budget show like this, good enough. And also the fact that we learn with Bill's introduction that he studies animals that don't exist. Like, he's on the hunt for creatures that have yet been identified or discovered. And, you know, he's really looking for the origin of the folktales, the stories that people tell. Kind of like the Family Guy episode where they find the origin of the dirty jokes. Bill heard tales about dragons and other mythical creatures. People didn't believe him at first, like our characters Lee and Keiko. Lee very much would not believe that, and Keiko, well, she's a scientist, as she claims. She believes what the evidence tells her. So, yeah, they encountered a dragon, so they know that this stuff is real. Hilariously enough, little do they know, there is a literal three-headed electric-type dragon frozen in the Arctic as they speak, you know? Alright, back to present day. So we see our characters, they went to this place to meet present day Lee Shaw. A much older Lee Shaw. Who is played by Kurt Russell. Not like his son Wyatt Russell playing the younger version. You know, it's kind of crazy to think that his son is playing the young version and then his father is playing the older version of the same character. That's pretty funny. I mean, it's not the first time, you know? It's not the first time we saw that. But yeah, I kind of questioned, how did they even know that Lee was not only in Japan, but where to find him? I mean, in the files that Kentaro found in his father's cabinet, it did say, it did have a paper that says, like, welcome to Japan, you are now moving to Japan, and I guess it would have his location. But Kentaro didn't have the paper with him, so unless he memorized it. So they go and they meet an older Lee Shaw. He asks for the characters' names, and they reveal what their name is, or rather, what their last name is. Kentaro and Kate, their last name is Rhonda. Which, now we have a fully painted picture of the family tree. We know that Keiko is Kate's grandmother, and last name being Rhonda, well, that's Bill's last name. And we did see there were a couple in the first episode before Keiko's supposed death. So, we now know the family tree. Keiko and Bill had a son, Hiroshi. And then that son, Hiroshi, had Kate and Kentaro. Now, I kind of question the timeline a little bit, because We already saw in the flashbacks between the first two episodes, the characters met around 1952, and then Keiko's supposed death was around 1959. So that's 7 years. Unless Keiko and Bill fell in love and had a kid around that time, which seems like is the case. Well, that means, oh, poor Hiroshi. During the flashback scenes, the B-plot scenes in the first episode, there was a young Hiroshi out there who just lost his mother. And, I don't know, Hiroshi at this point maybe like 5 years old? You know, they have 7 years. There's a 7-year time window. Let's say they fell in love and had a kid like 2 years after they met. Hiroshi might be 5 around that time. And also, then again, what do I know about genetics? Hiroshi looks nothing white. You know, his father was white, his mother was Japanese. He does not have a hint of white to his appearance. Same goes for Kate and Kentaro. Then again, I'm assuming their DNA is only a quarter white, since their grandfather is white. And I'm assuming the rest of their parents is Japanese. But yeah, we now know Kate and Kentaro are the grandchildren of Keiko and Bill. And Lee is just a very distant uncle. So now we have a fully painted picture of the family tree. Anyway, so Lee, the old Lee, played by Kurt Russell, after hearing their names, knows that these are Hishiro's kids. You know, the grandkids of his friends. We know Keiko is probably dead in present day. Where's Bill? We don't know yet. So Lee is asking them, why are they here? They're trying to get information on their father as well as Monarch. But May, she realizes, hey, what is this place? There's cameras everywhere watching us. So Lee reveals that this place that he is living at, or rather stuck at, is a Monarch almost prison. Like, he even has an ankle monitor on him. So Lee gives the characters an ultimatum. And one that they have to make up on the spot, too. Because he cuts off his ankle monitor. It's just like, you can give Monarch exactly what they want, or you can keep on running from them and find out what really happened to your father with my help. Cuts off his ankle monitor. You have like 60 seconds to decide. So it seems like present day elderly Lee Shaw is joining the team. You know, it's kind of crazy. Once again, to see father and son play the same character. It's like if my dad and I were actors. Yeah, you would not think, given my face, would age into my dad. Then again, you might. You might actually, because I look like my mom, yes. But if I was slimmer, like my dad, I would actually look like my dad. You know how I know this? Because my dad's brother, so my uncle, he's large, like I am. And I do kind of look like him. I look like my grandpa, and so by extension, I kind of look like my uncle. And so, my dad, if he was bigger, he would look like his brother. He would look like my uncle. So if I was skinnier, way skinnier, I would actually kind of look like my dad. I'm not saying my mom is fat, but, you know, my dad is just skinny. My dad is very slim. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is, amazingly, I very much do look like a combination of my parents. It just depends on my weight, who I look like. Because I'm rounder, I look more like my mom. If I was slimmer, if I was thinner, I would actually look like my dad. Like, very much. But because I am not slim, I look like my uncle, who looks like my grandfather. I don't know. I see my resemblance. I see the resemblance in my grandfather. Like, I very much think by the time I am his age, I will look identical to my grandpa. No one else sees it. No one else thinks I look like my grandfather. I am certain if I reach his age, I would look identical to him the way he is now. I'm gonna look in the mirror by the time I'm 90, if I make it to 90. Who knows with all the garbage food I'm eating. I'm not eating organic food, drinking organic water, and breathing organic air. But if I make it to 90, I'm gonna look in the mirror and think I look identical to Grandpa. I am a spitting image, a literal mirror reflection of my grandfather. Probably not a good idea to drink the rest of my bubble tea at this hour, but hey, it's gotta be drank or drunk. Doesn't that just not sound right? It's gotta be drunk. But, you know, that just doesn't sound right. Okay, so episode 2 of Monarch, pretty good. Felt like the first episode was stronger, but, yeah. Not a bad second episode. You want to know something I realized about Has-Been Hotel? The fact that Vox was even able to be endorsed as Hell's Strongest Sinner should say a lot. I mean, given the circumstances. You know, Alistair had to make a deal to become Hell's Strongest Sinner. Not Vox, though. He didn't make any deals, and he had that much power. Damn, almost makes me want to do a demonic summoning and make a deal before I die, so I have power in hell when I inevitably go. But I'm not gonna do something that's stupid. So the other day when I was driving, I heard on the radio the talk show host talking about Justin Bieber stopped to help someone whose car wasn't working. First of all, I'm thinking, is that really something that needed to be reported? And then after that story, they played his Beauty and a Beat song. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually like that song. That's like the only Justin Bieber song I like. I don't give a damn about Justin Bieber, but that song is pretty catchy. And am I crazy for thinking that in the music video, Nicki Minaj kind of a baddie? I'm not really into Nicki Minaj. Y'all know me. Between the two options, personality and smarts is what I'm looking for. But yeah, it's like, I'm just not that big of a fan of a large behind like Nicki Minaj has. But am I crazy to think that she kind of a baddie in that music video, or am I crazy? Alright, folks, I'm about to end. Alright, I'll see you guys next time.